I'm really excited about this part of the conversation because not only do I get to talk to an incredibly talented editor, she's also a great friend of mine. This is Lauren Connelly, ACE.
Hello.
Congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you so much.
Let's dive right in. The clip that we just saw, dinner table scenes. I think we're all editors here. We know scenes around the table hurts my brain. You have all these characters that you have to track, eye lines. Talk to us about how you approach a scene.
Yeah, like you said, when I saw this dinner scene, lunch, I guess, come in, I went, oh boy, okay. Sunny, our showrunner, is really particular on eye lines. So I knew there was absolutely no cheating that either in this triangle. One thing we talk about a lot on Beef is perspective, character, and scene structure. And I thought a lot about that when constructing the scene. And, one of the things we do, we have this like Beef rubric that we talk about sometimes, and we put our perspective character in clean, tighter coverage and the other characters in like a dirty coverage, like overs. In this scene, I kind of broke those rules slightly because in this scene, we have two perspective characters. We start in its Austin scene. So we start close on him and we pull out, and visually you get a great representation that he's caught between these two women. And that's really where we're going in the entire season after this moment. And when it still is Austin's scene, but I actually always show him in the dirty coverage because I always want you to see which woman he's looking at, because so much of this scene plays in his reactions and how he's looking at them and when he is looking at who. So it was really important to keep that very clear in this scene. And then you'll also notice in the first half of the scene, we actually never cut from one woman to the other. They are always related through his looks from one to the other, because really this is about him and how he's reacting to the two of them. And then once Ashley realizes, whoa, what is happening here exactly? We do that Beef rubric where we go to the clean tight on Ashley. And now we're really focused on her reactions and what she is thinking in those moments while observing the other two. So much of this scene really occurs in the silent reactions. Yes. And that's, to me, so much about what Beef does. It's all subtext. It's what people are feeling, how they're reacting to each other, less so than what they're actually saying. Because, a lot of times they're lying. So,
well, I think you did a phenomenal job, because that moment when Ashley realized that Eunice is a threat, I felt that. Like, it was like, ooh. Yeah. So that was brilliant. And, like I said, there's a lot of silent moments, and there are all these awkward hesitations as well in this conversation. So I think they really helped define the tone of the show and the scene. So how did you kind of use those moments in the edit so that you kept the scene moving but still had that comedic rhythm?
Yeah, what's interesting to me about pace is that it's really not about how fast you cut. Mm-hmm. It's not about how quickly you're moving from shot to shot. It's not about how fast that dialogue is firing. It's really about how engaged you are with the characters and the story that you're telling. So, you could have a scene where you start cutting it faster and faster and it doesn't work, and they're like, pace it up, pace it up. If you actually slow down, it could play faster, which is completely counterintuitive, but it's because you're actually properly engaged with the characters. So in this scene, the whole conceit is that this is a very awkward lunch for Austin. And so it really lives in those looks and in those silences. And because that's where we're getting the information as the audience, that's why having those silences and those beats, it still works important. And you don't lose steam because that's where you're actually engaged with the characters.
Yeah, it's really, really masterful. So with such a large ensemble, there are so many characters, perspectives, storylines to track. What are some of the editorial challenges of balancing all that while keeping the story clear and emotionally engaging?
So many challenges. So many challenges. I
want to hear them all.
That was a big departure from season 1. I was new to season 2, new to the team, and we really have a lot of main characters. You have your 2 main couples, so you have 4 people, and then in episode 3, you really start to have 6 main characters because you add the Chairwoman Park and Dr. Kim. One thing that was really interesting, what they wanted to do with the show, in the pilot's really plot-driven. They really didn't want to have a lot of exposition. They wanted to keep that pace up. So I got the privilege and the challenge of getting all that exposition into episodes 2 and 3 with so many characters to deep dive into. And so that was a challenge because it really is so many people. And I found that my biggest trick for this, I'm a big scene card person. I don't know how many people here love their scene cards. I'm like obsessed with my scene cards. I even have a digital version at home for when I'm not next to my walls at the office. It really helped us get this visual overview of like tracking all of these characters. You know, we only have 8 episodes to really deep dive into these people's motivations. I mean, they make terrible choices, bad decisions, but in order to go on this ride, you really need to be engaged with them and empathize with them and understand why they are making these choices. You need to understand Ashley makes these choices because she's hurt and damaged and feels abandoned by her family. You know, you need to get all of this in. Why is Josh making these choices? Well, they're terribly in debt. You know, all of these different things. So we did find that we ended up doing a lot of restructuring in 2 and 3. Not a lot, a fair amount, where I found actually, I don't know if you all have had the same experience, in big ensembles, sometimes you want to actually put character scenes together rather than intercutting them. And so these were all written to be very intercut, and we followed a lot of that, but we found, especially in episode 2, that joining scenes together really helped solidify the motivations, like Josh losing at poker and then him selling his equipment, you know, those types of things. And then in 3, we found that juxtaposing different scenes together would really solidify moments. So we actually moved the scene of Lindsay with her red light mask where she sees herself in the mirror right up against Josh seeing himself signing the invoices, and that really created this kind of nice relationship beat between the two of them, even though they were separate at that point in the episode.
That was a great scene, especially with what you guys do with the phone, all the texting and the things she was looking up. That was really fun. Okay, so another signature of Beef is the incredible music, the needle drops. I mean, the score, all of it. So, can you talk about how those choices take shape in post? Like, was any of it scripted, or did it just kind of get discovered?
There are a lot of scripted needle drops, but we actually replaced a lot of them this year, which was really fun. So it was really fun to be a part of that. All the source music is chosen in post in the edit. So that's also, I mean, Sonny is so musical. I can't even express how musical he is. He really has such an ear for it. So talented in so many different departments. You know, editing the big needle drops at the end was challenging. As many of you know, cutting to music is very difficult because he likes to use such recognizable songs. You really can't do much music editing to the songs. They need to fit in perfectly. And he's very specific on, you know, for example, at the end of this episode, when Ashley falls down the hill into the water, we wanted Doomsday from the Nero song to hit right after the splash. But he also wanted it to start right as she saw that Eunice didn't follow her on Instagram. So it's now this dance of, like, you know, trying to figure out, okay, we're going to start here, we got to end here. How do I preserve what we need to preserve all in the middle and get everything to hit at the exact moment? And we really get into an extreme level of detail on this show. I mean, frame by frame, because, you know, you could take one frame off of, you know, her throwing herself out the car and then rolling around. It doesn't work anymore. It's like, okay, you can't do that. That breaks it. Okay, so now let me go try on this edit over here. Okay, can I take out 2 frames here? I can take out 4 frames here. Oh, nope, can't do that. You know, it was really this dance with that. And then with the source music, I mean, it's so much fun. I think 2 of my favorites are What Was I Made For? That used to be listening to a podcast, and so that was really funny when Austin's linked to that. And then Bad Guy. Phineas listening to his own music. That one we actually found on the mix stage, and he was a really good sport about it, so that was really fun.
Nice. So I heard that you were cutting on set?
For one day.
For one day?
One day only. I would like to do it more. Probably don't film that, because only if it's not an early morning call time. Night shoots only, thank you.
So how does being that close to production, you know, change your creative process?
I mean, it was really great. I had so much fun. I mean, to me, set is like summer camp. You know, we're like all sequestered in our rooms, and it was like really fun to be able to see everyone and how everything works. But you really got to, you know, I got to go stand over there. So it was for the scene where she jumps out of the car and then, you know, freaks out and then she's going to fall down the hill. And it was really helpful, especially for that stunt, to be able to cut alongside them and make sure we have exactly what we needed, because that take at the end is a long one, or we need to make sure we have the pieces we need from. Spoilers, it's a stunt double that jumps out of the car and then rolls into the actual actress, and then she has to get up and then do this long shot, and
And the
it was
role has to match.
it
and-
has
oh
to
my
match.
gosh,
It was
yeah.
pretty challenging. It was great because we would get the Q takes from the DIT, they'd run them over, and then the actors could come over. Kaylee was standing by there all the time looking to make sure, like fixing her body movement. I could go over to where they were
Wow.
shooting, talk with Sunny, and like we'd figure just things out. It was very collaborative, and that was
Nice.
really fun.
So
But
you-
again, I got to go at like 9 p.m., so that was good for me.
so you were able to kind of influence how things were shot, in a way.
And I could suggest. I could suggest thoughts that I was having for sure.
Okay. So then, how did you handle the stuff that was in Korean? Because you don't speak Korean.
I do not. I do not. I've had actually a lot of experience cutting foreign language. It's really been very exciting. Korean and Arabic, Comanche, Spanish, Vietnamese. I've done like a lot in
That's a lot.
it's turned out, yeah. And
Yeah.
I get to talk about my favorite thing now, which is Avid Script Sync.
Yep.
It's really helpful.
Mhm.
It's kind of an incredible thing for this because,
Yep.
supposedly at some point in time they would actually put subtitles on your dailies, but
Hmm.
they've never done that for me. They would say, sorry, we can't do it this time. I'm like, you've never done it.
Yeah.
I've never had this experience where you've
Huh.
actually labeled what people are saying. So in Beef in particular, with the chairwoman, they really stuck to the script. She is such an incredible and well-respected actress that the other actors don't improv around her. It's a respect thing in Korea.
Oh wow.
And so the assistant editors could really count the lines. So it's like, okay, she talks, other person talks, she talks, other person talks. And you can line them all up in the script sync.
Mhm.
Now, with Dr. Kim,
That's different.
yes, he will improv with her and he will improv everywhere. And so that's always the challenge of dealing with improv in a foreign language. And so what I found really interesting about that is comedy really surpasses language barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had to do this a couple times. I did it on Mo season 2 with the Arabic improv. You really can tell what's funny without knowing exactly what they're saying.
True.
And you do eventually get translations and, can correct things. But I have found in both of these instances that a lot of those things that were chosen first actually stay because you just can tell it's funny. To me, I think it's a great challenge. So
some of the ways he delivers his lines are just hilarious.
he is so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't realize he was that. He's so funny.
He's really funny. So your showrunner, Sonny, he himself has said that post-production is a bit notorious on Beef.
He has said that.
So can you tell us your experience with that and what it's like to work with him?
Yes. Well, Sonny is probably the most detailed person I've ever met. And for those of you who know me, that is saying a lot because I find myself to be very detailed as an editor.
Yep.
He really leaves no stone left unturned in this process. And I really respect it. And I really grew to love the process.
Mhm.
We were very lucky to have a year to work on this show. And, we really go through everything. We focus on the scene structure, and then we really deep dive into performance, and we look at every single detail, every single take, every off-camera line. We do heavy dialogue editing in the offline. We go in order. I do temp VFX basically live. If we want to do a triple split with an animat and a fluid morph, he just waits for me to finish it on his phone. So that's how we do that for the first pass. And then, we go through the process where I pitch trims and things, and we restructure
Nice.
later on. But I think the process is really important on this show. To me, this show and the tone really lives in the detail, and he really wanted this season to feel very elegant and very different than the first season, have a different vibe. So spending all that time together made a huge difference.
Well, it certainly shows.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for sharing your process with us.
Thank you.